Hello everyone, what's up? It's Monkozunky. Welcome to my updated Bandos guide. This guide will be explaining how best to kill Bandos using the new fast instances, and we'll also be going over a few different tiers of gear setups that you can use for Bandos, whether you're a low level looking to just get into PVM, or whether you're looking how to camp those instances for really good XP and really good drops for long periods of time. So just remember, since there is quite a bit of stuff in this guide, you can use the skip links in the description to skip ahead to a part that you really want to see if you already know some information or aren't interested in watching the lower level parts of the guide. But that's about it for the intro, so let's go ahead and get into this, and hopefully you guys will learn how to kill Bandos, or possibly learn how to kill him a little bit better than you did before. Well, the first thing that we're going to go over in this guide is the gear setups. What exactly should you be bringing to Bandos? That depends on your level, of course. If you're a really low level and you don't have access to stuff like overloads or turmoil yet, I would recommend one of two things. You can either wear the Guthan's armor, as is shown in the picture, or you can wear just any other type of Barrow's armor, or even Bandos armor if you have it, along with a God sword or Saradomin sword. And the Saradomin sword method is what I'm going to be showing in the video. The Guthan's will provide more defense and healing, but using the Saradomin sword with Bandos armor, or possibly even Barrows, will provide more damage output and higher accuracy, so it's really up to you which one is more important. For the medium level setup, I'm going to assume that you guys have access to probably either overloads or turmoil, so you have either soul split or the high stat boosting prayers, but you don't quite have your Drygores yet, but you do have either a chaotic maul or some two-handed chaotic weapons. If it was up to me, I'd definitely go for the two-handed chaotic weapons. They're going to work a lot better than the chaotic maul, but I will be showing the chaotic maul to also show off the two-handed ability bar and what you can do with that. Also, if you're using the mid-level setup, remember to bring a vampirism ore, also with the low-level setup as well. You might need, depending on how many quests you've done, some Bandos item equipped on you. One thing you can do is you can equip a Zamorak arrow, since there are a couple of Zamorak creatures, and then wield one of the cheapest Bandos items you can find. It doesn't really matter. Try to get like a glove or boot slot or a necklace slot, since those typically don't provide the best bonuses anyway. And then for the high level setup, I have Malevolent armor shown here. Some other alternatives to that are Torva or Tetsu. Personally, I like wearing Tetsu the best for camping God Wars Dungeon because it makes it really easy and you don't take very much damage. However, if you do have Malevolent, you can use it here. It doesn't have a huge DPS increase over the Tetsu though, and it is a little more expensive to repair, so it's just up to you. And then of course with the Drygores for the high level setup, and I have the Penance aura there, but the Vampirism aura can also be very nice with the high level setup. And I have a Ring of Wealth equipped for all these setups because I love the Ring of Wealth personally, but you can definitely go with any sort of melee boosting ring or a Ring of Vigor if you'd like, if you will be using a lot of ultimate abilities. Now it's time for the inventories. So if you are a lower level player, I'd recommend to go with the super attack, strength, and defense set, as well as some prayer potion in your inventory, and then you want to fill up your war tortoise full of sharks or rock tails and have some more sharks or rock tails in your inventory, as well as magic note paper to note those bones and rune items that Bandos drops. You can also bring alch runes if you like, but they take up more inventory space. And then for the higher level inventory, you will be bringing overload flasks and prayer renewal flasks, as well as an extra aura in your inventory and an extra yak pouch, or more yak pouches depending on how long you'd like to stay, and some yak scrolls for banking stuff. So the higher level inventory and the lower level inventory are kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, and if you are the medium level player, you kind of want to mix and match. Like if you have overloads, throw the overloads in there. If you're using lower level armor like Bandos, you're going to need more food, so you probably want to fill your beast of burden up with food. If you're wearing high level armor such as Tetsu, you're going to need more prayer potions. So it's just for you to judge based on what type of armor you're wearing and what you have access to. So before you're getting to God Wars Dungeon, there really is a quest or two that you need to complete. First of all, you need to complete the Troll Stronghold quest and the Eadgar's Ruse quest following that, and that will unlock the teleport to Trollheim. This is really necessary for God Wars because it takes like 5 minutes to run there if you don't have those two quests unlocked for the teleport to Trollheim. And then as well, if you've completed the quest The Mighty Fall, you can teleport directly to God Wars Dungeon. It saves about 30 seconds of walking. It's not really a big deal between the two. The Mighty Fall quest just saves a little bit of time. And then you want to go directly into the God Wars area. Again, if you do not have the Shard of Zeros, make sure that you have a Bandos item equipped, because otherwise everything in here will attack you. And since you're using melee, you want to focus on the Rangers, the spiritual Rangers around here, as long as you have 63 Slayer to kill them. If you don't have that Slayer level, you can kill the Ogres and Hobgoblins and stuff like that. Some of the lower level creatures you focus on. You do not want to attack the Orcs, because if you attack an Orc, more Orcs will get on you and start attacking you, so it's probably better to leave them alone. But the spiritual Rangers are really weak to melee and very easy to take down, and that's what I typically focus on for my kill count. So if you are a low level player and you struggle to stay for a large amount of kills per trip, what I would recommend is just hopping till you find an empty world and go right on in. But if you are a medium or higher level player and you can stay for at least almost an hour or an hour plus, you want to pay for your own instance. And the reason for that is because you can set bandos to spawn really fast, and you can kill literally 2, possibly even 3 times as many bandos per hour because you do not have to wait very long for a spawn time. So for the low level, what I decided to do is, since I am a max player obviously and I have high stats, I decided to just not use any potions or prayers to give you guys a good accurate depiction of what this will probably look like with your fight. You will struggle with accuracy even when you are using potions and prayers because your stats are still fairly low, and you'll be either using a Guthan's War Spear or a Saradomin's Sword or a God Sword. But what I'd recommend to do for your major abilities is you want to use Slaughter and then run underneath Bandos and make him move, and it will triple the damage of the hit, and you'll get about 4 good damage hitting hits in there. And then you also want to use the ability Assault because this has 4 pretty high damage, about 219% of your weapon damage hits on Bandos, which is going to hit him quite hard. And then just pray melee and protect item, and you will not get a whole lot of kills per trip because it will take a while to kill Bandos, and he can hit pretty well through your lower tier armor. However, you can kill Bandos effectively using this method, probably get like 10 plus kills a trip, and the minions drop sharks a lot, so that helps. So for the medium level setup, if you are using a two-handed weapon such as a Chaotic Maul or God Sword, go ahead and follow what I'm going to be doing here. If you are using dual wield weapons, you want to wait until the high level setup, as I'll show you what abilities to use there. The abilities aren't terribly different, but it is the same rotation whether you're using dual Chaotix or dual Drygors, just the Drygors hit a little bit harder. So for the medium level setup, you pretty much want to do the same thing as the low level setup. You want to be using Assault and Slaughter as much as possible. Also, Hurricane can be nice because it will hit Bandos and any minions around him as well. Just be aware that if you do decide to use Soul Split, since you're not having nearly as high of a damage output because you may not have access to stuff like Overloads and Turmoil, you can be hit pretty hard, and it's probably a better idea to still stick with protection from melee at this point. The Vampirism Aura can be incredibly helpful, so I'd really recommend picking one up if you haven't already, and that will heal you back based on the damage you deal from hits. So that can be really nice. Just remember to run right underneath Bandos every single time you use Slaughter. And also, Overpower can be a pretty decent ability. You do not want to use Berserk because even though you will be able to kill Bandos pretty fast, you will also take a ton of damage if you use Berserk. So it's really not a very good idea, as it will cut your trips rather short. I will show you guys how to use Berserk effectively in a little bit, but when you are mid-level, you want to hold off on that. Mid-levels can probably expect a max of about 1 hour long trips. You will need to use quite a bit of food though. And there's the troll, War Priest of Bandos Karath. So for the high level setup, there's 2 different things that you can do here. You can Zerk. I typically only Zerk when using the Vampirism Aura though, because you do get hit pretty hard. You can alternatively use a Scrimshaw of Vampirism along with you, and then you can just bank the Shard of Zeros with your Yak, and those 2 things will heal you up a lot. And if you have those 2, you can Zerk and be completely fine. However, if you don't, you will take quite a bit of damage from the Zerks. Just remember, Bandos can hit 3.54Ks sometimes with those Zerks. He has been buffed quite a bit within the past few months, and that does mean he can actually do some damage now. Typically what I prefer for camping Bandos for long periods of time is I start off with Destroy, then I use Assault, and then I use the Melee Tendrils ability, and after you use all 3 of them, he'll be pretty near death. And this is also what I'd recommend if you are using dual Chaotix. This is probably the best way to go. You can also throw a Slaughter in there if you are using Chaotix instead of Drygors, because it will take a little bit longer to kill him. And using this method with the Zerking, you can get around 85-ish kills per hour at absolute max. Without the Zerking, about 75 kills per hour. Both ways, it's really good. I personally prefer just using the thresholds, since the Vampirism Aura only lasts an hour, although you can extend it with Viswax, and you won't be able to get the full amount of healing back, and unless you get really lucky on shark drops, you might run out of food and have to cut your trips a little bit short if you are Zerking every kill. So what exactly are the rewards for killing Bandos? Primarily, I really love his combat XP and his drop rate for effigies, but the money is nice too. If you kill Bandos and all 3 of his minions in a full rotation before the next Bandos spawns, that is, that's about 6,900 XP, so if you kill him 75 times per hour, that's about 520k combat XP per hour. Of course, that is attack or strength or defense, whatever you're training, along with HP, but that is still a very, very good XP rate, so it's really good XP camping fast mode Bandos. Of course, if you're not not killing them 75 times an hour, it's going to be a lot less XP than that, but that gives you a goal to work towards. Also, the drop rate at Bandos is about 1 in 63 wearing a Ring of Wealth, which I always choose to wear, and about 1 in 68 without a Ring of Wealth. You get about 2 mil an hour in regular drops. Again, this is killing him 75 times an hour, and with that drop chance, you can expect to make about 4 mil an hour after you count out the cost of supplies. It's a little bit more than that, but of course you got to pay for stuff like overloads and weapon charges. Again, if you're not being able to kill him 75 times an hour, which you won't be able to if you're a low level, you will not make nearly as much, and you'll probably expect a profit of around 1.5 to 2 mil an hour at Bandos. However, again, that gives you a goal to work towards. So hopefully you all have a good experience at Bandos and get lots of drops and lots of combat XP if you're a higher level and wish to camp there. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with the next video. Farewell.